Hi everyone, my name is Emily Teacher, and today we're reading the story Telling Tales. The invention of writing more than 5,000 years ago was a pivotal event in human history. Indeed, without it, there could be no recorded history. But even before writing began, stories existed, often in the form of folk tales. This much older spoken tradition probably goes back to the very beginnings of language itself. Folk tales did not need to be written in order to be preserved. They were passed on by word of mouth from one generation to the next. Most were anonymous and the work of many different people. As the tale was told and retold, it changed. Each teller modified it to fit a particular audience. So, we're going to talk all about um, folk tales and their development. One famous collection of folk tales, first recorded around the 14th century, is the Arabian Nights, also called the 1001 Nights. The title comes from the efforts of the storyteller Scheherazade to keep her husband, the king of what is now India and Indochina, from killing her. She stopped each night's story at a suspenseful point. That way, her husband would allow her to live one more night to tell its ending. Scholars think that many of these tales may have originated in Syria and Egypt, while others could have come from India. Their actual origin, however, remains a matter of conjecture. So no one really knows the exact origin of this. Not until the early 19th century was a serious attempt made to give European folk tales a permanent written form. In Germany, two brothers, Jacob and Wilhelm Grimm, collected hundreds of folk tales from all parts of the country. They published them in an anthology, now well known as the Grimm's Fairy Tales. In its pages, Rapunzel, Hansel and Gretel, Cinderella, and Little Red Riding Hood make their first appearance in print. So in the 19th century, finally, people started to try and put folk tales into written form. So the brothers Grimm, Jacob and Wilhelm Grimm, are very famously known for writing the original Hansel and Gretel, Rapunzel, Cinderella, and Little Red Riding Hood, among many others. One purpose of folk tales may have been to entertain, but that was not their only function. The reason they have survived for so long and are so prevalent in all human societies is that they educate their audiences. They seek to instill values that the society may consider imperative for its survival, such as a sense of right and wrong or the need for self reliance. In addition to providing models for appropriate behavior, they give explanations, often derived from folklore, of the origin and meaning of the natural world. So, folk tales are very entertaining. So, often they were used to entertain, but not only for that reason, right? So many of these stories still exist today because folk tales are mostly used to teach a lesson, right? To um, tell a tale that teaches you something, right? How you should act, what you should say, what you should avoid, um, things like that. Scholars have been struck by how frequently the same situations recur in folk tales from many different places. Over 300 versions of the Cinderella story, for example, have been identified. Perhaps the same stories appeared spontaneously in many distant societies, or perhaps they were spread by travelers and adapted to fit the need of their listeners. In addition to the same stories, the same themes are also found again and again. One of the commonest is the use of guile as a weapon of the helpless against the powerful. There are no better examples of this than the Uncle Remus stories of Joel Chandler Harris, based on the African American folk tales of the American South. So often these folk tales are there's versions of them all around the world, like Cinderella in many, many different lands that you go to, they all have a Cinderella story. So we're not sure. Maybe it's human nature and people came up with these stories spontaneously in different places. Or maybe someone was traveling. There were travelers who brought this story to many different places. We just don't know. But often we find the same themes in similar stories throughout the world. One of the funniest of the Uncle Remus stories tells of Brer Rabbit, who falls into the clutches of Brer Fox. He begs his captor not to throw him into the briar patch, saying he would rather be drowned. Brer Fox, being of a mean disposition, promptly does what his victim has begged him not to do. Brer Rabbit, of course, extricates himself with ease from the briar patch. He mocks Brer Fox as he scampers away by calling out that he was bred and born in a briar patch. So many people have read the Brer Rabbit story, and where Brer Fox captures him, right, and wants to eat the rabbit, or says he's going to throw him in a briar patch, right? And Brer Rabbit feigns ignorance, right? Pretends, oh no, please don't throw me in the briar patch, to get Brer Fox to do just that, not knowing that the rabbit was actually born and lived in a briar patch, so it doesn't hurt him at all. So this is a common theme throughout a lot of folk tales where the main character pretends that they don't know what's going on, or they feign ignorance, right, to get what they want, to escape. Folk tales coming from every part of the globe encompass the whole of human experience. From their early beginnings long before the dawn of history until the fairly recent past, they had no competition from other forms of entertainment. Today, the internet, videos, television, books, and movies compete for children's attention. Is there a danger that in the future folk tales will survive only in scholarly collections? Probably not, as long as children, snuggled in their beds, experience the magic that begins with the spoken words, once upon a time. Right. So while we have many other forms of entertainment now, it's unlikely that folk tales will stop, because everyone loves a story right at bedtime that starts with once upon a time. Thank you for reading with me today. I do have links that are related to each of our videos here. If you want the links related to this video, you can find it down in the description below.